Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We are going to get into it today. Todd is still on vacation. He's hanging out with his family. We're going to get into what are the things that home buyers and home sellers need to be thinking about as we head towards the spring and summer. Okay? We're in March, middle of March. Spring is right around the corner.
I think what's so surprising to me is how much the seasons affect the whole market. And I think people need a certain headspace around it, and they might not understand how it all affects things.
Yeah, okay. So when you say that, before you started working here, which has been quite a while now.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Not that you're going anywhere.
Likewise.
What were the things that you thought about when it came to real estate, spring, summer wise? We just like conversations you might have had, or friends, or just thought process.
It just feels like a truth as old as time that you sell in the spring.
Right. Now, you've seen around here that that's not always the case, right?
Totally. Well, my experience is like you just buy or sell when you're ready.
Right. And that's what we always say. When it makes sense for you and your family and your finances, that's the right time to buy and sell real estate. Now, for a lot of people, that is during the spring and summer. It is what makes sense because of kids and schedules and jobs and things like that. That the right time for them and the family and the finances is, we'll call it April through September, right? That's kind of the chunk of the year that people would generally say is the busiest time, the best time, the only time that you should buy and sell real estate. That's what we're going to focus on, okay? Now, we also know that's not true because December is great and the beginning of this year has been on fire for us and how the year's been. It's been one of our best ever beginnings of the year, no matter what metric you look at. It's been an amazing start, and all credit goes to our incredible agents on the team and the way that they're leading their clients and doing all this stuff. But as we head towards spring and summer, we have clients that are definitely saying this is the right time. So what are the things that you have to be aware of, right? Well, as a home buyer, let's focus on home buyers first. I think the first thing that you have to realize is there's a lot of people that are going to have the same thought process as you, which is now's the right time. It's the spring, it's the summer. So you're going to face more competition. And that's important to remember because what generally happens when there's more competition? Anybody?
Prices go up.
Prices go up. The most basic supply and demand picture you could draw.
Sure.
More competition, higher prices. So it's something that we have to be aware of. If you're a home buyer, it's really, really, really important that you connect with a mortgage lending professional. For us, we would recommend Patrick Gleros. You can go to toddtremonteteam.com and you can click on the podcast tab right there and you can get all of Patrick's information. PatrickGleros.com is where you can go. You can start an application right there on his website. Okay, NMLS number 308804. That's Patrick. That's who we would connect you with. If you are a home buyer, you need to talk to a mortgage professional so you understand what is the limit that we feel comfortable with. Now, the key word there is comfortable with, okay? Does it make sense to always buy a home for the most amount of money you can afford to buy? Grady is viciously shaking his head.
No.
Okay, why?
That is so careless.
Ooh.
And no, it's not careless. It just like you're not serving your finances well in that. Like you don't need to go max out.
Right. It could be careless is what I would say.
Could be careless.
For some people, it might not be careless, right? For some people, it could be. And the reason I say it could be is we don't know what life is going to happen. We don't know what situations are going to happen. Job changes, health. Who knows? If you are maxing out your life amount that you can afford and something happens where there's an increase, you might be in some trouble.
Right.
So it's really important that when you have the conversation with your mortgage advisor, with a really trusted person, it's like, hey, where would we feel comfortable with? Give ourselves a little wiggle room. And I'm not telling you how to run your finances or anything like that, but that's just kind of the way that we did it when my wife and I purchased our home was, hey, here's what we could afford and here's where we would feel comfortable. And there were two different numbers. Why am I going on about that? Because as you go into a marketplace in the spring and the summer and you're going to face more competition, and you see a house that you want and you're like, I really want that house. Like, that's the one that I see as having our kids grow up in, or grandkids, and making memories. And now you're in a multiple offer situation with 3 or 4 other people, and let's say your budget was 400 and the house was listed at 380, and now we're up to 420, and
Bail,
now
bail.
you're having to make a decision. And that's also where you need to have a really great and trusted real estate advisor, somebody that's going to advocate for you and remind you of these things, right? If you don't have somebody, reach out to our team. We have some incredible agents, both on the Fort Worth side and on the Dallas side. Every single person that I work with here is amazing at the way they lead their clients. You can give us a call at 214-216-2161. You can go to toddtremonti.com. You can click on the podcast. You can click on selling, click on buying. You can connect with us in so many ways through that website, and we will have a conversation with you. We'll have a sit down with you, and we'll see what makes sense. Just go to toddtremonti.com, and you'll find one of 15 different ways to reach out to us. So that's the first thing to be aware of if you're a buyer, right? Now, so you're going to have more competition, prices potentially going up. If you're a seller, okay, you're also facing more competition, right? If there's more houses going on the market, why is that important to know? Well, one of the things that I would say is the way that you present your house is now even more important, especially if you're competing with other houses in your neighborhood and things.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very specific example, but I'm wondering if you have any specific examples, Grady, putting you on the spot right here, of how you present your house as a seller could be really, really great or really, really hurtful.
Are you highlighting the best part of your house? So the house that I bought, that I live in, the patio was the thing that was like shown on the front cover of the listing, and it was to us the thing that stood out in the neighborhood. Because there's other houses that are like ours that have the same layout, maybe some same features, but nobody else has the backyard that we have.
Yeah.
And so when we saw it, we were like, this is the house we want. And the other houses that look like it don't have that. Or if you highlight the living room, and the living room's, to talk like the kids mid, it's not, nobody's going to click on your house. They're going to keep scrolling to the next house on the MLS.
Yeah. Yeah. Pictures are key. I mean, even just this week, we saw some homes on the internet where the pictures were, what's worse than horrific?
Oh, wow.
Horrendous.
Diabolical.
I feel like horrific is worse than horrendous. Diabolical could be good.
It's my favorite
Kind of
word.
like diabolical. They were that bad,
Wow.
right? That bad. I mean, they were bad.
Like iPhone bad? Like old iPhone bad?
Old iPhone bad.
Like
yeah,
the
like
agent just
like
walked
iPhone,
in
like
and-
iPhone 3.
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah. Like that bad. The first showing is online now. Okay, you are gonna go and see homes that look great online. So yes, that's important. Here's where I'm gonna go with this though, and we've talked about this when we train agents, not only on our team but around the country in our coaching group. Is when you're listing a home, you want to eliminate the thing that might be the worst thing that stands out about your house. For example, when we sold our house initially, this was going back to 2015. We had redone the flooring, redone the walls. It was nice paint. It was hardwood floors. We redid almost all of the kitchen, but we hadn't replaced the oven. It was a 1980 house with a 1980 oven. And I remember we worked with Todd and the team, and he said, hey, you need to replace the oven. Everything else is great, but if you have a couple or a family or whatever, an individual, a home buyer that is looking at 5 houses and they're on the fence about which one, your house will be labeled the ugly old oven house. Okay? Because that's how buyers think. They will leave a house and they'll be like, that one had the ugly old oven. That one had the slanted backyard with no grass. That one had the bathrooms that weren't updated. They don't always focus on like all the positives of the house, but they will start eliminating houses based on the worst thing about it. So he was like, just go to like a scratch and dent place. You don't have to go buy like a super fancy oven. Just go buy something which fits with what you have. Go buy stainless steel, get it installed. It's probably going to cost you a couple $100, and you're going to eliminate the thing which would now stand out in people's heads. I was like, that's a genius idea.
Yeah.
So we did. And we ended up getting a record sale for our price in the first weekend when we sold it for our neighborhood. It was incredible. And I really do think that was one of the reasons why. So when I'm saying to sellers, hey, you need to be presenting your home in as good a way as possible, it's making some of those little tweaks, little changes. And those are things that a really good agent is going to point out to you. Like, one of the things I tell folks when I talk to them that reach out to us when they call the office or sign up on our website is, hey, what I'm going to tell our marketing specialists, John and Jeremy, is they're going to come and have a walk around of your house. And they're going to see the things that you might need to touch up, might need to tweak, and they're going to give you some advice on that. And I think more importantly, they're going to tell you the things to not do, to not waste your money on, because it's not going to bring any additional ROI. And I think that's really important. So you want to make sure that you're presenting your house really well. Pricing, so key. How often do we see the quote Walmart pricing? Nothing wrong with Walmart.
Nothing wrong with Walmart.
What do we mean by that?
Discount.
The 99s, the 97s.
Oh, the 99.
The 99s, the 97, you call it the gas, you call it the, I was going to say petrol station, and nobody would know what I was talking about.
Petrol.
You know what? I'm going to roll with that. The petrol station pricing.
Yeah.
Right? It's $319.99.
Yeah.
It's $320.
Yeah.
Right? But they get you with the 99. So we see that a lot of times in real estate, and that can be really damaging. If you're pricing a home, for example, $399,999, and somebody's price point wants to start looking from $400 and up, they're not going to see your house because you wanted to price it $1 under, Bob, of the $400 pricing point. Pricing matters so much. You need to make sure that you have an agent which is going to speak to that and understands that and do that at an incredibly high level. Remember, we live in the past in real estate. All the data we have is past. It was from yesterday or this morning or last week or the month before. So you need to make sure you have somebody that can do that. What are some of the other things, Grady, that you think are important for folks to think about as we head into the spring and summer? How about getting your landscape ready?
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yep.
Because that when you pull up to a house as a buyer, it's the first thing you see.
Yeah. And that might be getting some nice plants in. If you
don't want dead spots of the grass.
Don't want that. You might need some new sod. You might need to get some of the trees cut back. You want to make sure the curb appeal stands out. When the sun is gleaming in Texas, and it gleams hot in Texas, you do not want to have a rubbish-looking front yard. They'll pull up and drive off, maybe. You don't.
Yeah, you can't trust that people have vision. You have to give them the vision.
And if you pull up and you see dead grass, I mean, immediately as a buyer, you're like, great, we're going to pay for it.
I'm going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put it in.
Versus being like, oh, this is already taken care of.
Yeah.
No, it's a scary expense.
Did you just have that expense happen to you?
I mean, that's my life. Yes. I've mulched my yard.
Life.
Is expense.
No. Courtney's life is a scary expense, is what she just
Full
declared.
price expense.
It is the full price, scary expense that Courtney lives in. All right, look, as we head towards spring and summer, there's a ton of things you need to be thinking about if you're a home buyer, home seller. It is the things we've been talking about. It is the added inventory. It is more competition. It is getting the house in shape, fixing the things that might stand out as being bad. It's about getting the curb appeal and things like that ready. There's also, 25, 50 other things that you need to be thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
This is a 15-minute podcast that we can't get into all those things. We wanted to highlight a few of them. So before you make rash decisions, before you do anything, make sure you reach out to a trusted, full-time real estate professional. If you already know somebody, great. I am thrilled that you do. If you don't, reach out to us. 214-216-2161. We will have a conversation with you. We'll invite you here to the office, we'll buy you a drink, we'll sit down, we'll talk about what it's going to look like to buy and sell real estate as we head into the spring and summer of 2026. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, do that. 214-216-2161, or just head over to toddtremonti.com, fill in any of the forms that you find on the website, whether that's under the podcast, the seller tab, the home valuations tab, buyer tab. I'm telling you, you can't go on the website and not find a way to connect with us. 214-216-2161. We'll talk to you soon.